10 Best Easter Eggs and Hidden Details You Might Have Missed in Marvel's Werewolf by Night. Welcome to Coke and Popcorn, and let's begin the countdown. Number 10. Jack Russell is the titular Werewolf by Night. The main monster of Werewolf by Night is Jack Russell, played by Gael Garcia Bernal. The comic book character made his debut in Marvel Spotlight number 2 in 1972. Jack has inherited the curse of lycanthropy. Just as in the MCU, Marvel used the character as an opportunity to flesh out the supernatural side of their universe. Amusingly, Marvel has actually introduced one of Werewolf by Night's adversaries into the MCU ahead of the werewolf himself. Moon Knight first appeared as one of his enemies, an appropriate choice given their common moon symbolism. Number 9. The History of Ulysses Bloodstone. Werewolf by Night introduces viewers to the Bloodstone family and to the legacy of Ulysses Bloodstone, the man who has led the monster hunter community for generations. One of Marvel's most established supernatural characters, in the comics, Ulysses Bloodstone was actually a caveman who was kept alive for 10,000 years after he stumbled upon an ancient bludgeon. In the MCU, the Bloodstone has passed down through the generations, but Ulysses doesn't want to leave it to his daughter, Elsa Bloodstone, who he viewed as something of a disappointment because she chose to reject his ways and trained elsewhere. Number 8. Elsa Bloodstone. Laura Donnelly's Elsa Bloodstone is the most important monster hunter introduced in Werewolf by Night. The comic book version of Elsa Bloodstone is essentially a riff on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, created by Dan Abnett and Michael Lopez back in 2001. She's a teenager who discovers she was the daughter of now-deceased monster hunter Ulysses Bloodstone and takes possession of his bludgeon to continue his mission. The MCU has switched Elsa Bloodstone up a little, making her a more confident figure from the outset, and thankfully ditching the absurdly skimpy costume she originally wore. Number 7. A possible Black Knight Easter egg. Another Easter egg in Werewolf by Night may subtly nod toward Kit Harington's Black Knight. One shot teases a historic gathering of monster hunters, and one of them is a knight in armor. It's possible this is an early Black Knight because Marvel seems to be tying the Black Knight's tradition, Al Weapon, the cursed ebony blade, in with their vampire lore. Eternal's post-credits scene saw Kit Harington's Dane Whitman reach out to touch the ebony blade, only to be stopped by the voice of Mahershala Ali's blade. According to Marvel, this was quite deliberate. The ebony blade, the characteristics of the ebony blade are not dissimilar to some degree of vampirism. Producer Nate Moore explained, teasing a connection between Blade and the Black Knight. It's possible that, like Elsa, Dane Whitman has now inherited the role of monster hunter and a mystical item of considerable power. Number 6. The Name of the Grave. At one point in the film, Jack and Elsa hide from the other hunters in a crypt containing the coffins of Elsa's ancestors. Each of these dead relatives has their name on display on the front of their caskets, and viewers may notice that one of them belongs to Mika, Brandon, and Clayla. This name drop is a clever tribute to art director Brandon Clayla, who had also worked as one of Disney's Imagineers. Number 5. Sasquatch, Alpha Flight, and maybe Wolverine? Also in the opening scene, the film shows a sketch of Ulysses Bloodstone using his trademark jewel in his battle against the Sasquatch. In the comics, Sasquatch was originally physicist Dr. Walter Lankowski, who gave himself the power to transform into Bigfoot after experimenting with gamma radiation to try and become like the Hulk. However, it looks like the MCU's incarnation of the mythical beast has a much different history for this film. Number 4. Man-Thing's Name. When Jack and Elsa team up to free Man-Thing and reclaim the Bloodstone, the former hilariously reveals that the creature's name is Ted. While this may seem like a throwaway joke, it's actually a significant reference to Man-Thing's comic book origins. In the source material, Man-Thing was originally Dr. Theodore Ted Sallis, a biochemist who injected himself with a replicate of the super soldier serum that created Captain America. Number 3. The Wizard of Oz. After Jack, Elsa, and Man-Thing defeat Verussa and her minions, Elsa takes ownership of the Bloodstone and her ancestral home. When she sits down, her body becomes filled with color as Judy Garland's song from The Wizard of Oz, Over the Rainbow, plays before the film cuts to Jack and Man-Thing, both also in color. This song fits perfectly with the colorful scene, as the Wizard of Oz famously transitioned from black and white into full Technicolor when Dorothy arrived in the Land of Oz. Elsa's red dress and matching bloodstone also hark back to the ruby slippers Dorothy wore in the film. There really is no place like home. Number 2. Vampires exist in the MCU. As a family of monster hunters, the Bloodstones have come across various creatures throughout the ages. This history is displayed in the film's opening sequence, which features a drawing of what looks like a vampire. Comic book fans will know that vampires have had a large presence in Marvel Comics, with the most notable being Blade, Morbius, and even Dracula. Since Mahershala Ali's Blade is coming soon, audiences could finally see these ancient bloodsuckers appear in the flesh in the MCU. Number 1. The Wolfman. Since Werewolf by Night pays homage to classic monster movies from old Hollywood, one of the most obvious influences on this film is George Wagner's The Wolfman. Jack's appearance as a werewolf is very similar to that of the iconic Wolfman, with Jack retaining a humanoid face and figure while taking a frightening bestial form. So while some may not like the MCU's design for Werewolf by Night, not only is it comic book accurate, but it is also a loving tribute to a horror movie classic.